All right, let's talk about the architectures of dread assignment. If you've been looking at this and wondering, how do I even start? Well, you've come to the right place. We're going to break it all down. Okay, right out of the gate, this is it. This is the single most important rule of the entire assignment. I want you to burn this sentence into your memory. This is not about what happens in Children of the Corn. It's about something way, way deeper. Exactly. We are moving past just saying what happened and into analyzing how it happened. Your goal here is to become a detective of dread. You're going to pop the hood on this story and figure out how Stephen King put all the pieces together to create that specific, chilling feeling of unease inside you. So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start by really hammering home that golden rule. Then we'll get into choosing your analytical lens. After that, we'll cover the nuts and bolts of writing your post and your replies. And we'll wrap it all up with the keys to really knocking this out of the park. Let's just lock this down one more time. Everything we're about to talk about is built on this one core idea. Getting this distinction right is truly the difference between a good post and a great one. So what does that actually mean? Well, dread analysis is all about the how and the why of fear. How does King use silence to create tension? Why is a perfectly calm child somehow more terrifying than a snarling monster? You're basically analyzing the emotional architecture of the story. Okay, so let's move on to the 5 prompts. Now, here's the key. Don't see these as 5 totally separate questions. Think of them as 5 different tools you can use for your analysis. Right. Each prompt gives you a specific tool, a unique angle that magnifies one part of the story's horror. So you're not just answering a question, you're using a lens to conduct an investigation. Let's look at a couple of examples to see what I mean. This is a fantastic lens. It immediately points your attention away from the obvious stuff, the jump scares, and towards something way more subtle and, let's be honest, a lot creepier, the unnatural calmness of the children. See? When you pick this prompt, you're not just saying, oh, the kids were creepy. No way. You're digging in and analyzing how their control, their specific actions, and even the way they talk are the very things that build the horror. Let's try another one. This prompt gives you a totally different lens. This one focuses completely on the setting. It's asking you to look at the environment not just as a backdrop, but as an active, menacing character in the story. So with this lens, you'd find the exact moment when that open road stops feeling like freedom and starts feeling like a cage. You'd analyze how those endless rows of corn create that feeling of being watched, of being trapped. You're explaining how geography itself becomes pure terror. All right, so you've picked your lens. Now it's time to actually build your case in your initial post. This is where you get to present your analysis to everyone. Now that word count, it's not just some random number. It's a challenge. It forces you to be incredibly precise, to choose your evidence really carefully, and to get straight to the analysis without wasting a single word on summarizing what happened. And this slide just shows the difference perfectly. The weak post is pure plot summary. Bert and Vicky get lost. You know the drill. But the strong post, it analyzes the dread. The horror begins quietly. It pinpoints a specific detail, the heavy silence, and explains its lotional effect. That's your goal, right there. So here's your simple 3-step plan. First, commit to just one lens. Don't try to do everything at once. Second, dig into the text and pull out your evidence, a specific quote, a description, a character's action. And third, and this is the most important part, explain how that piece of evidence works to build fear. Okay, let's talk about your replies to your classmates. Your job here isn't just to agree or disagree. It's to push the whole conversation deeper into the cornfield, so to speak. This is your prime directive for replies. Please, don't just say, great post, I totally agree. That just stops the conversation dead in its tracks. Your goal is to add another layer, to notice something new, to really deepen the analysis of dread. And here's a really simple formula for a fantastic reply. First, zoom in on a key detail from their post that you found interesting. Second, explain the effect that detail had on you. Maybe it scared you for a slightly different reason. And finally, ask a good probing question that pushes their analysis even further. So the big takeaway here is to engage with the actual substance of what they're saying. If they talk about the scary silence on the radio, you could talk about a different kind of silence later in the story that you found even more terrifying. Keep the focus on the mechanics of fear. All right, let's bring it all home. As you get ready to write, I want you to keep just a few key concepts in your mind. Think of these as your final checklist for success. These are really the ingredients of Dread. You're looking for how King takes his time, how he lets that unease build nice and slow. You're looking for how he uses things that should be normal, silence, a kid's game, or church, and just twists them into something deeply, deeply unsettling. Everything we've talked about today, the focus on feeling, the analytical lenses, the deep replies, it all really boils down to one final powerful idea that's right there in the assignment sheet itself. This is it. This is the whole thing. Your job as an analyst here isn't to solve the horror or to explain it all away. It's to sit right in the middle of that uncomfortable, creepy feeling, look at it closely, and explain to the rest of us exactly how the author put you there. And that's the real question, isn't it? You're not just a reader anymore. For this assignment, you're a guide. Your post is your chance to take your reader by the hand and show them, step by frightening step, how the architecture of dread was built all around them. Good luck.